Hey everybody, how are y'all doing? My name is Amanda. God calls me Zion, and I am the mother of angels. Today we're going to talk about your inner world and creating an inner world that will help you get through the difficulties of life. But it's also about creating an inner world where your soul is comfortable. And ultimately, this will be part of your soul's transformation through the rest of the ages. So we're going to talk about being dead to the flesh and what that means for us in the future too. So today is the 7th day of the angel portal. It ends on the 7th, and 7 represents inner world. So we're going to talk about that, what it is, how to create it, and why it's important. Today's angel numbers are 020, which is a balance of opposites, 720, which talks about creating a bridge between your inner life and your own divinity, and 259, which talks about how can we activate change within ourselves while also amplifying change for the greatest good for all with the least amount of harm. Okay, so inner world. I have always had, this is just my experience, but I've always had a very vivid inner world. Partly due to the fact that I was an only child growing up, and so I really had to entertain myself a lot. I started reading when I was very, very young. I was like 3-4 years old when I was reading, and even before that I was like carrying around little chunky books. So I always entertained myself with books, and then when I was about 9 years old I started writing short stories just for the fun of it. It was just something fun for me to do. It was a way for my imagination to just let loose, and it was like play for me. So I started writing short stories when I was 9 years old, and I've always just been able to be self-sufficient and not really worry so much about what the outside world, was doing. And as I've gotten older, and especially since I've gotten sober and been on my spiritual journey, I realized that creating your inner world is like the best way that you can create an authentic self. And the cool thing about creating an authentic self is that you can just be the same person in every situation. Or not even be the same person, but just literally like live yourself. Like, be able to move in the world in a way that you're not insecure, or that you just feel an assurance about yourself in everything you do, even in like your quirks, and like if you have special abilities or special gifts. Sometimes people like us, we are ridiculed, or we are not understood, misunderstood, definitely, because we're different. If you're a chosen one, you're different, and we usually have to trudge a path that is a little bit tougher than others. People say, oh, I'm chosen, and others are like, well, first of all, most chosen people don't say that, okay? But when people hear that word and they don't know what it means, they think it's like some kind of high honor, and you just get like everything you want, which, yes, it is high honor to be chosen. But a lot of people who are not walking the chosen path, they don't understand the immense amount of pressure and the immense amount of trials and tribulations and tests that the Most High put us through. And the reason that we get our blessings and we manifest what we want is because we are tested in the fire. And a lot of times we don't show that to the outer world because, I mean, what's the point? Most chosen people are naturally joyful and naturally want to help others and don't want to bring other people down. So we kind of keep that stuff to ourselves. And we also experience a lot of isolation. The past year I've experienced, especially since the beginning of September, I have experienced extreme isolation brought on by outside forces, which I enjoyed. I was fine. I mean, I love being by myself, honestly. I can be my weird self all by myself. And I don't have any judgment. So, although I was put into extreme isolation for the detriment of my life, I was able to turn it around into something that was beautiful and that brought me closer to God, the closest I've ever been to God. So, for Chosen, it's important that we do cultivate a beautiful inner world because we do have to retreat to that inner world a lot. So we're going to talk about it today. And even if you're not chosen, honey, this will help you not seek the validation of others. It will help you seek validation from your spirit guides or your ancestors, spirit team, whatever. You will seek validation from God first, not from the world and not from other people. And once you cultivate a really large inner world, you don't really care about the opinions of other people because you know who you are. You're God's child. And, whatever people say, it doesn't really matter. I mean, most people are not paying your bills. You know what I'm saying? And so my golden rule about that is, if you're not paying my bills, then do you really have an opinion? I mean, I hate to be blunt about it, but I mean, it's the truth, or if you're not, helping me in any way, like, what do I care about what your opinion is, So we're going to talk about all that today, and we're going to get into the flesh and the spirit at the end. So stay towards the end because the end has a really special message. It's about there's a prophetic message at the end of this message, okay, that relates to all this. So let's see. Okay, so we covered all that. So the first thing that you want to do to create a rich inner world is you want to get rid of all the noise inside. Noise inside here, noise inside here, noise inside here. All the noise, all the chaos. You want to come to a place where you have peace and balance on the inside. And that doesn't happen just like that. That takes work. And that's what I'm here to help you get started with if you're interested in that. One of the most important things I did, or I do, I've been through many transformations in my life. I've been through more than 9 lives in this lifetime. I've had a lot of dark nights of the soul. And I finally got to a place where I was giving way too much to other people. And I wasn't receiving anything in reciprocation. And it's not so much that I was doing things. Well, for a time, yes, I was being codependent. I was acting in a way to get my needs met, okay? But I came to realize that as much as I was pouring into other people, they were not pouring into me. And that was causing a drain on me. I was gaining weight. I was losing my hair. I was having medical problems. I was getting sick all the time. And I realized that my energy was being drained by the people that I was around. So I decided to remove all fake people in my life. And I made that decision because I needed to heal from some trauma that I had just experienced, and the people that I was connected with were connected to that trauma indirectly, directly. So I needed to remove them from my life because of that, and also because I just knew that something in my body was telling me, like, this is not right. Something's not right. So I listened to my intuition and I cut everyone off. Now, they didn't really like that. I was part of a spiritual community that I cut myself off from, and they didn't like it. So they came after me and hounded me for like a year, 2 years. So I don't suggest that you just cut people off and don't give an explanation. I've learned from my mistake. You just have to talk to people and communicate with them and be like, hey, like, I need a break from this relationship. Like, give me some time. You're going to get a lot of pushback from that. So sometimes it's best just to be like, this is how I feel, and move on. Don't sit and like argue about it or anything like that. Because, you know, at the end of the day, you want to honor ultimately your inner temple, you know. So when you decide to cut the fake people out of your life, and you have difficulty with that, I want you to call on Archangel Alfreda. That's one of our new archangels in the new matrix, and he is actually Freddie Mercury. If you know anything about music, you know Freddie Mercury was a wonderful musician, and in the spirit world, he now works with communication, and he works with electricity, like electric communication. And he, of course, he was in the music industry, so he travels through music as well. So when you start to remove these fake people, or if you make the decision to remove people from your life, you can call on Archangel Alfreda. We spell his name Alphraedah. And so you can call on him to help you communicate with the people in your life that, you know, I'm stepping back for a while. I'm going to do some soul searching. You don't even have to be blunt about it. You can just, honestly, I'm stepping back for the health of myself. That's a good enough explanation. And then if they have questions, you know, you can always talk to them about it. But, you know, if they have a lot of derision, or if they, you know, go up against that, then you don't have to say anything else. Just state what you mean, and keep it moving. Stay away from people that prevent your growth. Do not stay in a stagnant job, a stagnant community, stagnant friend group. You want people around you who are always going to help you grow, or not always, but people who challenge you. There's this quote, you don't want to be the smartest. If you're the smartest person in the room, then you need to leave. You need to find a new environment to go to. And that's because you want others to challenge you, because you want to grow to be a better person. So try to stay away from people that prevent your growth. I would also stay away from people who don't have your angelic experience, don't have your angelic demeanor. If you're chosen, you're an earth angel. And so you tend to have a really big heart. Stay away from people who abuse your heart. Even Jesus had boundaries because he knew how people were. That's in Matthew somewhere. So stay away from people who don't have the chosen mark. Also, beware of people who are jealous. If you're chosen, a lot of people are going to be jealous of you because you naturally radiate a light from within. And while people love you in the beginning, there's always that moment within a friendship where things turn and they get jealous of you. And instead of leveling up to meet you or asking you, hey, how can I get on your level? A lot of people haven't done the inner work, so they're still dealing with their own demons. So they allow their demons to take over. And then that ends up with you being chased down, like the prophets in the Bible. So just, you know, cultivate your discernment for stuff like this. And that comes with just testing the spirits of people. And people test the spirit in different ways. You know, I have little tests that I put people to just to see what they're made of, because I've learned in my 43 years on earth that you cannot be too careful with these people, because they will try you in every single way possible. Okay? So just cultivate your discernment. Your aim is to be God's favorite and win divine favor, because when you're God's favorite, then God protects you in everything, and He also grants you the desires of your heart. The next one, limit your substance intake. Okay, if you're a full-blown drug addict, go to rehab. But be discerning of that too, because there's a lot of predators in the recovery community. But if you are a drinker, or you occasionally smoke or whatever, just limit that, because the thing about it is it's all about moderation and everything. God is very, 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 very concerned with balance within Himself, and then or herself, and then within our souls as well. So limit your substance intake. Just moderation. Don't smoke every day. Don't drink every day. If you have a problem, go seek help from a medical professional. Or me. I can help you with that. I can definitely help you get sober if you want to. I know how to get sober. I've been sober since 2019. So I'm not going to say that everyone's alcoholic, drug addict. I mean, I have had some very severe experiences with addiction, and I've healed all that. If you're an addict, you need serious help. But if you're just someone who partakes occasionally, and maybe you're on a path of I need to just limit my substances. And the reason I say that is because too much of a good thing is not a good thing. I know that sometimes we take substances to get that connection with God, which is fine, but that doesn't need to be the only way that you connect to God. You need to connect to God with a sober mind as well. And that means sober in without substance, and then sober in your thoughts, so you have positive thoughts, and just be objective about that kind of thing too. A lot of us are using substances right now to cope with what's going on in the news. Just be aware if you're using substances as a coping mechanism, or are you using substances as something that's going to enhance your life. It's all about moderation, truly. Next, I would say start examining your thoughts. Who is controlling your thoughts? And are they of the light? If you have beautiful thoughts on the inside, then you're going to see a beautiful world. That's also in Matthew in the Bible. It talks about, the lamp of the soul, the lamp of the body. If you see through a lamp that's clean, then you see a beautiful world. If you see through a lamp that's dirty, then you see, a negative world. So be willing to examine your thoughts. Stay away from the wicked, but be willing to be objective about your opinions of others. So seek grace first, and then if that doesn't work, well, F them. always give people the benefit of the doubt a few times. That's how God works. God will forgive and forgive and forgive and forgive a million times before he executes his wrath. I'm not saying be like God. I mean, aim to. I mean, that's a pretty high standard, but always be willing to give grace first. And then if someone passes that up, then I would consult with God and see what the next step would be. So the angels gave me this morning. It said, you are a body existing with mind and spirit. And I got to meditating and I was like, and then I saw a picture of it was a picture of like just the central nervous system and like the brain. And it made me think of like dying to the flesh and like what that really means. Like we talk about that a lot in the Bible, like dying to the flesh as far as like, you know, live in the spirit, die to the flesh. Well, what does that mean? Well, currently that means we want to live in our higher self and do away with the things of the flesh, like, you know, immorality and sin and stuff like that. That cause us to stumble. But in the future, die to the flesh literally is going to be like that. We're in a stage of evolution now where we're about to quantum leap in our DNA. So I activated my DNA 10 years ago using this technique. It's a spiritual enlightenment technique, and I can teach it to you if you would like. But I basically exorcised 3 demons from my body through my crown chakra. I basically activated my Kundalini or whatever, but it's really like the Holy Spirit. The same thing. When that happened, my everything around, like I became very aware of everything around me. My senses heightened and my intelligence blossomed, and everything expanded, and it continues to expand because the way that I learn things it's very quickly now. The way I can get downloads very quick. It's like I just close my eyes and get a download, you know. So me activating my DNA was the catalyst for all of us that can do that, to do that in this new age. You know, we're in the age of Aquarius now. So this is like the next step up in enlightenment, is activating your DNA. But after that, after so many more ages, God's ultimate divine plan is for us to be of no flesh. Literally, like the picture I saw, like the central nervous system and the brain and like the heart. That's it. Well, not even the heart, that's flesh, right? And we're easily heading that way. I mean, you know, people are starting to be able to read algorithm patterns and stuff like that. So people are beginning to be able to talk telepathically with each other. And so that's going to be a part of this whole evolution of human species as well. And also, not only are the humans evolving, but the animals will evolve, and everything underneath us will also go up a level. So when humans mass evolve, then animals below us will also come up and evolve, right? And the more that we evolve in our intelligence, the less that we'll need flesh for. And so that's God's ultimate design. That's his ultimate plan, to get us in a state of basically being angels, all of us angels. That's kind of cool, isn't it? But I wrote, in the future, very far away, all we will be are our central nervous systems. We will be ghosts. That is the ultimate transformation goal of God. All of us existing as angels, no more death and rebirth, because eventually we're going to reach immortality. So there will be no need to die to the flesh. There will be no need to go to like heaven and like work on ourselves and then come back. You know what I'm saying? Because we won't have the flesh to atone for. It'll just be our thoughts. And we won't even be speaking to each other. We'll just be like telepathically. I mean, it's already starting in the algorithms. It's in the phone, the way that we communicate. We're already telepathically communicating with each other. It's just not everyone has picked up on the pattern yet, but you will. You'll get there. That's part of the evolution right now. I wrote, you're going to have to get really comfortable without your meat suit. Stop relying on outside experiences to validate yourself, like your looks or your clothes, because none of that stuff's going to matter anyway. It's your soul that matters. And what makes up your soul? All the electrical impulses. And that's your spirit. And then you have your soul, which connects you to God, right? And your spirit connects you to other people. The whole point of this message is to focus on your soul, not to focus on the outside of your appearance, because literally who cares? God doesn't care about the way you look at all. I mean, yes, he likes to create beautiful angels, but ultimately it's his soul that he cares about. It's your soul that he cares about. It's okay to be interested in these things. It's okay to wear makeup. It's okay to do your hair. It's okay to want to be beautiful. That is okay. It's okay to adorn your meat suit however you want. Okay? But ultimately, that's not going to be important. So the most important thing, again, in moderation, that you should focus on is your soul. So more emphasis on your soul and less emphasis on your outside appearance, which means less of an emphasis on validation from other people and more emphasis on validation within yourself. And that's how you evolve. That's how you get on the road to DNA activation. Sorry. And so, like I said, it's okay to be interested in these things, but one day we will be rid of the flesh. We will be dead to the flesh. So the importance that you should look into now is healing your soul and connecting with your inner soul, so that when you do need to retreat for whatever reason, when outside world is too much to bear, you can retreat into your inner soul. And so when I do shadow work, I'm using my left-hand path. I'm using the demonarchia. That's what I call my spirit demons. And don't get alarmed when I say that. I'm not like over here worshiping the devil or anything, okay? But I am honoring the demons that walk beside me as well, because I have angels on my right and I have demons on my left. And they're there for a reason. And Jesus had the same thing. You know, Jesus was the OG shaman. And so he conquered both. He conquered his demons, and he sought guidance from both his demons and from his angels. If Jesus was anything like me, which he was born into a family that wasn't very kind to him. I know the Bible says it different, but that's not true. And so he had to overcome a lot of demons that were born into his family lineage. And so once he, exorcised those demons from himself, then he was able to, promote them to his angels, right? So I wrote, reach out to your left-hand path, the demonarchia. You can use that's the demonarchia. That's what they're called now, for guidance. Azrael leads that. But you must have a righteous heart before you play with your demons, an inner compass of righteousness before you mess with the left-hand path. You cannot go and work with the left-hand path without having a righteous heart, or else you're just practicing evil witchcraft. I don't care what you say, that's the truth. If you don't have a righteous heart, you don't have a clean heart, you don't have a pure heart, you haven't done all the shadow work, and you start asking your demons for advice, Your demons are unhealed too. You're not only healing yourself, but you got to heal your demons, right? So you must have a righteous heart when you reach out to the left side. Otherwise, it can quickly turn to witchcraft. And lastly, I want you to have a conversation with your soul, or start developing a conversation with your soul. How do you do that, Amanda? Start journaling. I know I harp about journaling all the time because it's how I recognize that I was talking to my soul. So start journaling. Even you don't have to write sentences. Just like every morning when you get up, just like write out words that kind of like just sit there with yourself, turn on some frequency music or whatever, and just write. You don't have to write an essay. This is not going to be graded. You're not going to be turning this in for a college term paper or nothing like that. This is simply you communicating with your soul. And and you can say communicating with your subconscious. Same thing, kind of. And so by doing that, you start creating a dialogue between you and your soul, you and your higher self, you and God. And you can just write words, just words that come to you. And your own pattern recognition will teach you, ask your guides to teach you how to recognize the patterns in your words. So yeah, write them down. Like I said, your spirit team will guide you. Reach out to Alfreda and Azrael, Allegra now, and they'll help you guys. They'll help you with that. Let's see. And so this beginning of your journaling practice will set you up on the road to DNA activation, which is the next step in evolution for humans. And this is just the way to get started. I'm going to read something from Jeremiah to end this for us. Let's see. This talks about your idols. And so, like I was talking about, your outside appearance, that can also be seen as idols, like your clothing, your makeup, your jewelry, those kinds of things. And so, if you spend too much worshiping those idols, then, you're asking for disaster because you're neglecting your soul. And when you neglect your soul, you're basically soulless. And when you're soulless, then you open up to negative entities attaching to your soul or attaching to your vessel. If you're soulless, you don't have a soul, so you just got this empty vessel and you're just waiting for whatever entity to come through and, jump on in. I'm serious. That's how it works. Believe me if you want. I don't care. Just here to spread the good news, okay? So we're going to go to Jeremiah 10. Here we go. It says, it's a little long, so if you don't want to hear it, this is the end of the video, so you can stop. But if you want to go check it out for yourself, it's Jeremiah 10. It's called Idols and the Living God. Idols and the Living God. And it kind of breaks down what I just talked about as far as us losing our meat suits and becoming pure angels. Hear the word that the Lord speaks to you, O house of Israel. Thus says the Lord. Learn not the way of the nations, nor be dismayed at the signs of the heavens, because the nations are dismayed at them. For the customs of the peoples are vanity. A tree from the forest is cut down and worked with an axe by the hands of a craftsman. They decorate it with silver and gold. They fasten it with hammer and nails so that it cannot move. Their idols are like scarecrows in a cucumber field. I don't know why God's obsessed with cucumber fields, but he is. And they cannot speak. They have to be carried, for they cannot walk. Do not be afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither is it in them to do good. There is none like you, O Lord. You are great, and your name is great in might. Who would not fear you, O King of the nations? For this is your due. For among all the wise ones of the nations, and in all their kingdoms, there is none like you. They are both stupid and foolish. The instruction of idols is but wood. Beaten silver is brought from Tarshish, and gold from Uphaz. They are the work of the craftsman and of the hands of the goldsmith. Their clothing is violet and purple. They are all the work of skilled men. But the Lord is the true God. He is the living God and the everlasting King. At his wrath the earth quakes, and the nations cannot endure his indignation. Thus shall you say to them, the gods who did not make the heavens and the earth shall perish from the earth and from under the heavens. It is he, so that's us, the gods who did not make heaven and earth. We will perish, we will die to the flesh. It is he who made the earth by his power, who established the world by his wisdom, and by his understanding stretched out the heavens. When he utters his voice, there is a tumult of waters in the heavens, and he makes the mist rise from the ends of the earth. He makes lightning for the rain, and he brings forth the wind from his storehouses. This is Yahweh they're talking about. Every man is stupid and without knowledge. Every goldsmith is put to shame by his idols, for his images are false, and there is no breath in them. They are worthless, a work of delusion. At the time of their punishment they shall perish. Not like these is he who is the portion of Jacob, for he is the one who formed all things. So this is talking about the living God here on earth, because we have a living God and we have a living goddess here on earth. I'm not going to get into that right now. It's a whole other video. But they're currently living here right now. Not like these is he who is the portion of Jacob, for he is the one who formed all things. And Israel is the tribe of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts is his name, Yahweh. Gather up your bundle from the ground, O you who dwell under siege. For thus says the Lord, behold, I am slinging out the inhabitants of the land at this time, and I will bring distress on them, that they may feel it. Woe is me because of my hurt, my wound is grievous. But I said, truly this is an affliction, and I must bear it. My tent is destroyed, and all my cords are broken. My children have gone from me, and they are not. There is no one to spread my tent again, and to set up my curtains, for the shepherds are stupid, and do not inquire of the Lord. Therefore they have not prospered, and all their flock is scattered. So he's basically saying, because they have not done the work in their soul, then, he's not happy about it. A voice, a rumor, behold, it comes, a great commotion out of the north country, to make the cities of Judah a desolation, a lair of jackals. I know, O Lord, that the way of man is not in himself, that it is not in man who walks to direct his steps. Correct me, O Lord, but in justice, not in your anger, lest you bring me to nothing. So that's you seeking advice from God about what you can do to clean up your shadow self. Pour out your wrath on the nations that know you not, and on the peoples that call not on your name. For they have devoured Jacob, they have devoured him and consumed him, and have laid waste his habitation. So there again, it's like, it just reiterates, stay away from people who mean you no good. If you've got some kind of inkling about people that they don't like you, then they don't like you. You'll know when people like you. You'll know. If you doubt that they like you, then they don't like you. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll be back tomorrow. Bye.